We will not borrow for operating expense. We cannot borrow for operating.
The provincial budget media session Thursday drew a packed house. Finance Minister Doug Horner presided.
But as we hold spending increases, we continue to protect core programs and services.
The province will borrow, exhaust savings, and promote zero program spending and no public sector salary increases in trying to correct a $1.9 billion deficit based on miscalculation of oil and gas revenues.
Under this plan, Alberta's savings will grow to over $24 billion over the next 3 years.
Legislative reporters chimed in.
A 0% increase in spending. What's going to be really interesting, as we look forward, is what does that translate to? We see, for instance, advanced education. They're seeing a big hit there in that ministry. Some seniors programs being cut or affected. There's just so many different areas that a 0% spending increase/decrease is going to affect.
You never know what the price of oil is going to be, especially the discounted price of oil. Now they see that bitumen bubble, as they like to call it, getting smaller and smaller as the years go by. But that's what that savings account is for.
Of course, oil and gas revenues will remain the key to future economic prosperity here, one of the continent's leading economic regions, as the province tries to eliminate debt and deficit. Random Edmontonians gave a variety of opinions.
They should be asking more from the oil companies. If you look at other countries like Norway, they have much higher royalty schedules for their oil revenue, and frankly, Alberta is asking for so little.
Being a province that heavily relies on the oil, we should have seen this coming. And to be living in a province where we're, especially within the universities, where we're so dependent on the government and on the oil, it's just way too much risk.
Some would say Alberta enjoys good economy but questionable management.
The 2013-16 capital plan supports $15 billion in infrastructure projects over the next 3 years.
I think I work here on campus as a science researcher. One of the things that's really frustrating is what's happened with the Alberta Heritage Fund for Medical Research, which has basically gone away and turned into Alberta Innovates. And that's a big chunk of money that went away for research.
We got 15 years of them telling us this wouldn't happen again, and it's happening again.
But the reality is where we're going is so that we can do the kinds of changes that we need to make in our expenditures, and I want to show that to Albertans what we're doing.
If we remember a year ago, we saw a very different picture painted, a very rosy picture. There was money for everything. There were many promises made, and we see the results of that 1 year later after the election. Not so many of those promises kept, or not all of them kept, and a very different fiscal situation on our hands.
Often controversial, insiders know the provincial government can't afford to get it wrong much longer. Their future depends on it. This is Tim Dancy.